Good morning, period 3 and 5. It's Mr. Enoch again. Today's Thursday, April 2nd. So glad you guys are back. Here is my update video for today. Just going over the directions for today, what I want you to do, as well as the major ideas within the little mini review lesson. So, as always, check the update section. I post things randomly as I get them. I actually posted an update video that you could watch. I'll probably go into a little bit about what that was about yesterday as well. Also, I got an email last night. So if you're at home, you're looking for something to do, and you're interested in filmmaking, there's actually going to be That's a Wrap Film Fest this year, so they're still going to hold that. You need to watch this video here, and they'll explain where you submit your video, who you need to reach out to in order to do that. But that's an opportunity for anyone who wants to do something creative in their extra time here these next few weeks. And they run that festival every year. It's a really great contest. Our Comtech, our video department at Hempfield High School, is outstanding. They win prizes every year on a national level. So more about that update I posted yesterday. So a lot of you guys have done a great job about posting ideas you're reading. I understand that some of us have not posted anything yet, and some of you just selected new books that you just started reading, or maybe you have books that you've already read. I want to start by saying, please continue to read those books for 30 minutes a day. However, sometimes it's hard to apply those to the literary elements we're working with, depending on the books you selected. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to read for 30 minutes a day, but I'm going to say when we get to the actual application, if you would like to select elements from a movie or television show you've been watching, you're allowed to do that. That's something some of the English teachers discussed last night. In order to show your understanding of these literary concepts, if you'd like to use film or TV, please feel free to do that. Now, again, that does not mean I'm telling you to go watch TV instead of reading. It's just a different way for you to work with the material if you would like. So I hope that helps some of you complete the work. I actually posted an update video about that last night as well. So let's get into Thursday. So when you guys open up your day 4, Thursday, April 2nd, you'll see directions. Go over those now. Read for 30 minutes. I'd like you to read and review the point of view worksheet. I'm going to do that quickly here as well. I'd like you to post on the discussion board about point of view. Now, this is going to give me a sense of the point of view, also going to give me a sense of whose point of view you're trying to convey in the enrichment. And I will say, if you're choosing to do TV or film, who does the story follow mainly? So if you think about, even we watched the film Speak last year in class, the film follows Melinda's perspective. We get her voiceover. And films do that. Sometimes films will go over multiple perspectives. Sometimes films or television shows will just give us one perspective. But I really want you to think deeply. If you are going to do that path where you're talking about television show or movie, you got to think creatively, because directors do show points of view, and you should be able to analyze that just like you would in literature. And that's kind of the point here. Once you do that, you can complete and submit one of the following enrichment activities. I'm going to go over those in a little bit. And there's also an extra discussion post if you have time or would like to. So let me go over point of view to start. So, point of view. What is point of view? Point of view is the perspective from which a story is told. If it's a fictional story, it's told from the point of view of the narrator. There are 3 common types of narrators in fiction. There's a narrator as a character, which we often call first-person point of view. So the narrator tells the story, but sometimes the narrator is also a character within the story. A first-person narrator is also a character in the story, tells it from his or her point of view. First-person narrator tells the story from the first person and uses pronouns like I, we, and the like. So here's an example. Ishmael is the narrator in Moby Dick. However, he's also a character who experiences the whole story of chasing the white whale. He's not the main character in the action, but he tells the whole tale. Call me Ishmael is actually a famous line from that novel. Second-person point of view tells the story as if it's happening to you, using words like you and yours. Authors might choose second-person narration if they want the reader to strongly relate to the story they're giving the reader's specific instructions. You've probably never seen any place quite as beautiful as the serene mountain town of Della Gloria. That's an example. The example I always think about is second person point of view. If you've ever read those choose your own adventure novels, those are written in second person point of view because you as the reader is actually dictating what happens in the story, depending on what page you turn to. I don't know how many of you are familiar with those choose your own adventure novels, but that's my experience with second person point of view. It's not very common in literature. Third person, limited and omniscient point of view. So a third person narrator is a narrator who is not a character in the story. The narrator tells the story in the third person. Refers to characters as he, she, and they, but never I or we. So a limited narrator means the perspective of only one character is revealed. The narrator can get inside one character's head so the reader does not know what other characters are thinking or feeling. This means that the information is revealed from this character may be biased, flawed, because we can't really verify that character's perspective. I want you to think about Casco Amontillado last year. We just get Montresor's narration. He's a killer. He's a madman. And you always have to ask yourself, can we trust what he is telling the audience? Can we trust him? If any of you read The Telltale Heart for your research paper, which that's on hold for a while, I'm sure some of you guys are happy about that. But if you read The Telltale Heart, you can't really believe everything that narrator tells us because he is a crazy person who killed his roommate. And you always have to think about that when you look at limited point of view, whether it's first person or a limited narrator from third person point of view. So an omniscient narrator means a narrator knows all and can describe the points of view of many different characters. And again, if you're going to do an analysis of a television or film show, I want you to think deeply about what point of view that director is showing us. It's usually, from my experience watching TV, an omniscient narrator. So I even think of the show like Stranger Things. Stranger Things gives us the point of view and it tells the stories of a bunch of different characters. And then those stories usually intersect towards the end. But it is omniscient. You get the character stories from all different points of view. So how an author shows a character's point of view through what the character does, what the character says directly, what the character says or expresses indirectly, what the character says or expresses, what other characters say and do in relation to that character. So not all characters mean what they say. It's also important to watch what a character does. Again, Telltale Heart, the guy tells us that he's not insane and then he goes and kills his roommate because of a weird eye. So you can't always believe the narrator. Pay close attention to moments when a character's actions contradict his or her words and vice versa. So we go back to this folder. What I'd like you guys to do for the discussion board here, describe the point of view in the story. Is it first, third person limited, third person omniscient? I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's not going to be second person, so I wouldn't guess that one. Is there another character who could tell the story or offer an interesting point of view? Which actually leads us into an enrichment activity. So you guys have 4 options. First option is a found poem. We did this with Julius Caesar at the end of Act 1. You guys all created found poems in small groups. So that would be where you write a poem to represent a key idea, character, or theme for the book. In this case, a character's point of view. So you would take words and phrases from the text and arrange them into a poetic form. So a found poem does not need to rhyme, but it should be arranged in lines like a poem. Give your poem a title, make it from the point of view of a secondary character. So for instance, if you're doing this for The Demon Lover, that short story we read, you might create a found poem from the perspective of K to kind of give his perspective about the story. Author versus narrator. So this one's a little bit more academic. So a narrator is a character who relates the events of a story. It's not the same thing as the author. The narrator is a character that an author created. The narrator can be similar to or different from the author. In fiction text, the narrator is a fictional creation of the author, just like any other character in the story. Lionel Shriver declared in the New York Times in 2016, "If we have permission to write only about our own personal experience, there's no fiction, but only memoir." Which basically means authors take liberty with their narrators. They'll write outside of different perspectives. So, in your opinion, do authors have the ability to write fictional texts that relate historical information, or do they have the obligation to write about these historical events accurately? In other words, can they create a story, or must they strive to write a fictional story that is accurate? So that one's more of an opinion piece that's getting you to think about how should authors tell their stories. I'd like you to create about a paragraph of that. Next one, a little more creative. You could write a song or rap from the point of view of one of the characters. So encapsulate the point of view of this character that expresses the thoughts and feelings of the character in the story. Also, maybe any actions they do in the story. This song or rap can be put to music and performed if you're really bored, or it can just be written out as lyrics. That one I'm interested. I don't know how many of you will choose that, but if you did, be interested to see if you actually put it to music. And then the last one, create a Twitter account from the point of view of one of the characters. Share their thoughts and feelings in less than 144 characters. Send out 2 tweets that your narrator might potentially send. Include hashtags, respond to other characters using the @ feature, and add visuals or emojis if you like. So those are your options for the enrichment piece. I'm excited to see these. Again, some of them are a little bit more creative today, which I'm excited about. And then the last one's an optional discussion board. So I was thinking about this yesterday. Being cooped up has made me think about my own travel experiences and my future travel plans. I would like to take a European trip and explore different countries in the EU by train. I'd love to stay in some different places using some new technology like Airbnb, where you can actually stay in people's houses in these areas. I mostly wanted to do this and try the food as well. I love eating. I love eating out. And last time I went to a long trip, I went with my wife when we went to London the other year. It was an incredible trip, but I felt like going there, the food left something to be desired for me. So if I ever go back to Europe, that's one thing that I really want to plan out is all the different countries and the best places to go and eat. So what I'd like you guys to do is please describe your ideal trip anywhere in the world. Where would you go? What would you do? Why do you want to go there? How would you get there? Where would you stay? Be as detailed as you can. If you're really bored, do some research about the place you'd like to visit. You can incorporate those in. You can incorporate some pictures of the places as well if you'd like. And again, this is a discussion board. Feel free to respond to your classmates. Just make sure whatever you're posting is school appropriate. You know, we are still technically in a classroom, even though it's a digital format. All right, well, that's my video today. It was a little bit longer and a little bit more to go over. I hope you guys appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it, and have a good day. Can't wait to see the stuff you guys produce.